is in the house. He brought his Plymouth Duster over. Got a brand new QA1 front subframe and all kinds of goodies under this thing. Time for us to get this thing set up properly because he is on his way to Holley Moparty directly from here. So, setting up a very, very cool Mopar. And no, that's not a Mopar sitting in there, in case you caught that. Shh. Stick around.
I know how to use one of these now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you're gonna do this all yourself, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Car's definitely gonna go straight if I do that.
Well, folks, welcome to Lucore Automotive. Today's a pretty cool day. Cale of Cam Racing, as I said, has brought his Duster over today. And you've made some changes since I saw you last, sir. This thing's a lot different since the last time.
A little bit, yeah. Just did a full QA1 Coilover conversion kit up front. So we got rid of the torsion bars. Got coilovers now. Tubular K member, tubular upper and lower arms, double adjustables up front, rack and pinion, power steering, and a full bare disc brake kit up front.
So, like, other than the LS that's under the hood, everything else is different?
For the most part, yeah.
Okay, all right. So you did this in your shop, right?
And I started less than 3 weeks ago.
And by shop, we also mean
10 by 20 storage unit.
if you're not familiar with Cale and his shenanigans, this young man, and I do mean young man, works out of and builds his vehicles in a storage locker. You wish you had somebody that young and motivated around you. So with an extension cord, I believe you probably still power your shop with an extension cord?
100-foot extension cord.
100-foot extension cord? Yeah, yeah. So this is going to be fancy for you. You got all kinds of
I know, I
power drops and air.
And see the full side of the car. I never thought I'd be so jealous of that.
So, time for Rich to work his magic. That's what we're here for, and that's what you're here for. Full custom alignment on a full custom Mopar. Yours is not like this car, I promise. But it should be interesting.
I've never had this car on a lift.
Well, no, you're gonna get spoiled working like actually standing under your car.
What is this? Oh, sorry, I probably should have opened it up. I think it's the last page in there is what they're on.
Hey, there's the last page.
Or second to last. Is it on that one?
Caster 5 to 6 degrees, cross caster half degree, camera negative half to positive half. We're going to go negative half. Positive toe. Sounds perfect. Where I would have set it up anyway. Cool. So so when we move our camber in, it will actually reduce our caster.
Okay.
Because it's going to
twist it forward.
Because as we move the front piece in, it's going to push the ball joint forward, which will reduce your caster. So, like, if you're adjusting camber and your caster's correct, you want to move both arms. In this situation, you want to move both eccentrics the same amount in to go to take that wheel negative. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because it's all the way positive right now.
Right, because it's positive right now. So we're going to take the camber on the passenger side negative and keep the caster in the same place. We're going to roll both camber cams the same amount, and that'll just roll it in and maintain the same caster.
Okay.
Usually on a car like this, the rear adjuster on the upper arm will adjust your caster.
Okay.
And a little bit of caster, or a little bit of camber. Your front arm will adjust your camber, and and a little bit of caster. So, and then when you move them together, they only really adjust caster.
So they're kind of opposite of each other.
Yeah.
In terms of,
It's. I confuse myself talking about it. I know how it works, but I get tongue tied talking about it. So. See, and then the other side, you're a -degree plus, and your caster is excessively high, like 2 degrees high. So you're 7.3. So when we move that front piece out, we're going to actually increase the caster. So we're going to move the front piece out and the rear piece. Yeah, the front piece out and the rear piece out. So they're both going to go out.
okay.
So the front's going to go out a little, the back's going to go out a lot.
So what? You set the caster first, which kind of then sets the camber, and then toe last.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I always set caster camber and then I set toe. And because this is so whomper job, what we'll do is we'll get it close and then we'll recomp it and just start over.
Okay.
Because I found when you've got all sorts of weird angles on it, the first comp you go through you'll get something you can make adjustments from, but it's not repeatable. Like you'll reset it up and your numbers will all change because now it's got a more accurate comp to start from.
Okay.
You may, depending on how hard you end up driving this, you have the adjusters here.
Mm-hmm.
These arms are adjustable.
Yeah.
So, but it requires you to take it off, and we'll want to lock those down.
Bottom ones are adjustables too. They have Heims on them as well.
They've got heims as well.
Yeah.
So that's awesome actually for adjustability.
Yeah. I set it where QA1 said it's about a 1/2 inch of threads on the bottom, which I think was equal to like 7 threads,
Okay.
and then 2 up on the top.
And they're equal side to side.
Yeah. I made sure that was set because I didn't want to tear us apart.
I say if you end up doing like real hard driving with this, which that could happen. It's kind of what it's built for.
Yeah.
Ultimately, these the adjusters on top will go to lockouts
Okay.
because that way those can't move. Because when you start hitting hard G's with these, that style cam can move on you. Whereas if you do a lockout and just put it dead center, and then you make your adjustments with your arms, it makes it hold the alignment that much better.
Okay.
So, but we're not there yet. We're still in the setup stage.
That's good to keep in mind for future.
That's future alignment. So what are those, like 21s?
11/16s. Or no, the 3/4. I'm sorry.
3/4?
Cam bolts, yeah. So
You just put them on yesterday.
No, I had that set like a week ago. I adjusted them about 2 days ago.
Good looking setup.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
How much weight did you drop off of those with this car?
I'm not sure. I waited before. I haven't waited after yet.
It's a lesson most people never take to heart. Is put in the steering and the stopping before you put all the go in.
Yeah.
Upgrade the whoa before the go.
Yeah, my dad's made that very clear to me.
Yeah. Speaking of somebody who has 4-wheel drums on that yellow Pontiac outside.
With the big block. Nice.
Slow down! Please slow down! At least once! So you were pretty close, huh?
No idea.
It's like 3 degrees off left side to right
I
side.
think it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Did you drive this at all? Or just
Like I said,
round
I did one lap around my storage facility for like, what was that, like 30 seconds. And then I was like, okay, let's go to the gas station.
Gotcha.
I went to the gas station and drove it there, and it sounds awful without the exhaust on it. I can't stand it, but I ran out of time. We're sitting in the truck bed. I'm going to toss them on when I get down there.
Do it at the show?
Yeah.
Well, it gives you something to do at the show.
Upside.
We're past that point already. But I was just curious, why.
Heads up, you guys are in my path. You guys are blocking
So,
my
yeah, thankfully they,
blocking my streams.
thankfully they overnighted.
Wow, that moves a lot.
But it did.
Let's put it down and recomp it and see where we're actually at. With it being in the air, it's going to read completely different than it should. So.
Without any weight on it.
Are you going to just reclock your steering wheel once we have everything squared up?
I think so. The only thing is I gotta torque it down. So last time I torqued it, it was slightly off just because of the little movement there. But that shouldn't affect anything with steering. That should just be the wheel with a little adapter on there.
So that gives me camber exactly where I want it on the driver's side. I'm still a little low on the passenger side, but
So half a degree negative.
yeah, half degree negative is, I mean, we could go more radical than that, but for an initial setup, it's fine. And more than that's just, it's more for racing and twisty turns. Like some street cars I'll set up with a full degree or even a degree and a half, depending on how radical the car is, but this doesn't need that yet. I'm going to drop your caster down a little bit on this side, so I'm going to go in a little bit in the front and out a little bit in the rear to reduce caster and try and keep the camera the same. Passenger side, I'm just going to take the front one in a little bit more, and that will bring up our caster. So let me do that real quick. And I'm jacking it up to gain access to the eccentrics because they're behind the wheel. And normally I would adjust them with the wheel on the ground, but there's no room for me to get my arms in there. So my big ogre arms.
No, I understand that. I had to jack it up to even adjust the coilovers yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was gonna try to set it a little bit with the string just to get a base, but that's definitely a two-man job.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's realistically, machines like this, it's about speed. It's, you can set them up 100 different ways, but
The car's much stiffer with all this up front now.
what's that?
I said visibly, just seeing you do that, the car's much stiffer.
Oh yeah, it's a very aggressive suspension.
The biggest thing is I'm hoping it had a decent amount of body roll before.
Oh, it's not going to have body roll now.
I'm hoping that's gone.
Body roll's not going to be there now. Oh, I took my caster the wrong way on the passenger side, but I'm really close on my driver's side, so that's good. I found the Corvette guys did a lot of research on it, on their setups, and they kind of came to the conclusion that even though you can put more than 6 degrees of caster into a car for like street, track driving, they don't do more than 6 degrees because all it does is it just increases driver's fatigue.
Okay.
But for straight line drag, like I'll throw as much caster as I can get out of a car into it because it just helps with stability, and you're not fighting. The car starts to steer itself straight down the line when you put more caster into it. So because the caster makes the wheels return to center, and that's like with the old the old tube chassis long rail cars. Mm-hmm. When they would turn the wheels, they would like lean over because there was like 15 degrees of caster in the front, or even more than that. I don't know what they ran. I never worked on one.
Yeah.
But those things would steer, and the wheels would lean over from side to side because there's so much caster in them. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. There's no rack extensions in there.
I'm just trying to see where the ends are.
Oh, in terms of
to make sure, to try and get your rack squared.
Okay.
I tried it. It looks pretty close. It's probably within a quarter of an inch. So we're going to bring it over this way just a hair.
I did try to get that as center as possible, but it was a little tricky.
So I usually end up just cutting these straps and putting a zip tie on them.
Okay.
And that way I can peel the boot all the way off, and then I can get it dead center.
Okay.
And then we adjust your steering wheel up by splines, because the splines on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And then that's how you'll end up centering your wheel. And you know, off an eighth one way or the other way isn't a big deal,
Yeah.
but once you get your wheel positioned on the rack the way it needs to be, then we can center the wheel finite with the rod ends.
Okay.
So, because you know, one spline might be off a little bit one way or the other way, and then we can straighten that out in the tie rod end adjustment.
Okay. That's actually kind of how it was on the last setup. It's like if I could go one more spline over, the wheel would have been perfectly center. Like, I guess half a spline over, because if I went one over with the opposite side.
Yeah. Let me grab my 11/16.
Your metric 11/16?
Yes, metric 11/16.
I need more caster over here, a little less caster over there. Our camera came in a little bit better on this side. We'll get the toe closer. So we're going to go ahead and recomp this and see where we're at with a fresh compensation.
What's that, parallax on them?
Yeah, I spoiled myself when I bought this lift. I spent a little extra to have the extra tricks put onto it.
I noticed the lights too. Those are nice.
Yeah, the underdeck lights are pretty awesome.
Pretty genius.
Until you have to replace them. So after recomping it, the caster on this side came up like a half a degree, and the camber went right to where we want it to be. The caster on the other side is now reading 3/10 lower, which is closer to our target. It's a full degree and a 1.2 degrees cross on caster.
Yeah.
So I'm going to increase caster on this side, and if I get 5.3 on this side, I'll leave this side alone because I'm at -6 and 5.3, and that will be great. If I can make the other side match, I'm just going to focus on that side, try to make that side match this side, and then we'll set your toe.
The driver's side is pretty good.
Yeah, the driver's side I'm real happy with. 5.3 caster, -0.6 degrees camber, it'll be great.
Okay.
So let me work on that side a little bit more. We'll fine tune it down to the driver's side, and then we'll reset our toe. We'll comp it one more time just to verify we've got repeatable results. And that'll be that. And we'll just lock everything down. We're going to take the back one in, the front one out. Let's see if we can hit our targets.
A lot of
Let's see where that got us.
Yeah, so that's why it's like I question myself in class or footwork stuff versus actually hands-on. Seems to be like there's a little bit more of like in class footwork stuff than the hands-on stuff. Because they want to get you the information and tell you everything before you go through it.
Got a half degree of caster, I need another half degree of caster.
5 hours a day. You get a lot thrown at you. The weird part is that like none of the classes go together. So it's like you'll learn one thing and there you go. You won't hear about it, see about it, touch it. For the rest of the
I just swept my caster. I'm going to bring this one up a little bit more by moving my front camber adjustment out to reduce my camber. It's going to increase my caster. It should balance us out pretty close. Twist here and twist there. That's probably too far. I think that's a winner. So we got her done. We gotta lock it all down. 0.6, 0.6, 5, 5.2, 0.09, 0.07. They want a total 0.10 toe in, plus or minus 0.15. We're at 0.16 total toe in, so that should be just fine. Very cool car, man. Drive the dog snot out of it. Nice work. Love it.
For a tow vehicle too. Love it. All right, my friend, you're all done.
Thank you.
Ready to rock and roll? You're very welcome. Always a pleasure. Good to see you again. If you haven't picked up on this, this is Cale of Cam Racing. You can find him here on the internets. You can also find him on the Instagrams on Cam Racing.
Yes, sir.
You have a Charger as well.
Yep, 70 Charger.
That's taken most of your time away from this guy lately.
Yeah.
That you're bringing back to life, like from very much dead.
A roof skin and A-pillars essentially is what it's come to be, but it'll be worth it.
The whole 9 yards. So for all of you who are complaining about the fact that young people don't care about this stuff anymore, there's at least one of them out there. His name is Cale. So we're gonna let him get out of here because he's got a 5-hour drive tonight. Thank you very much for being here, guys. We appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe as always. Go check out Cale and what he does over on Cam Racing. We'll see you on the next one. No idea what that's going to be, but we'll see you. Have a good weekend. Take care.